The cable split squat is an odd-looking exercise and more than a little complicated. But it's not complicated just for the sake of being fancy. There's good reason for choosing cables as the loading mechanism. Split squats and lunges are one of the more misunderstood and poorly executed exercises out there, in my opinion anyway. More often than not, when I see a split squat at the gym, it looks something kind of like this. A standard split stance, but the hips moving straight up and down. Now, if you look at the bottom position of this type of split squat, you can see that it isn't ideal. There really isn't that much bend in the front leg. The range of motion just isn't that great. It's not wrong exactly, it's just that it could be much better. If you were to look at a standard squat where the knees and or hips stopped at 90 degrees, you'd say that's not really deep enough. One of the things that makes a proper split squat great is that when you do them right, you can get super deep, really work the end ranges of knee flexion. But here's the trick. When it comes to getting the most range possible, you can't go straight down. You have to go forward and down. Or as one coach that I know is fond of saying, you want to ride an escalator, not an elevator. So if you look at the difference between the bottom position of a split squat where you go straight down and one where you go forward and down, you can see that with the latter you get way more bend at the knee, and that's a good thing. It makes for a much more complete and effective exercise. This is where the cable comes in. The cable is helpful because it actually pulls you in the direction that we want your hips to be traveling. A barbell or dumbbells encourage you to move in the direction of gravity, straight down, which, as you're learning the basics of a split squat, can make the forward component a little hard to grasp. But since the pulley is out in front of you, the resistance encourages you to move in the correct direction. The cable setup can give you a little nudge to have your hips moving the way that we want them. That encouragement to move forward and down can be quite helpful, but to be fair, there are some tricky elements to this movement. One error that's especially common is to extend that front leg without really taking the weight with you. When you do this, it can feel like you're performing your split squat correctly since you're bending and extending the knee, but when you look at it, you can tell that something's not quite right. What you want to be careful of with any variety of split squat is that your torso stays perfectly upright for the duration of the movement. Your trunk should be perpendicular to the floor at both the top and bottom of the rep. This ensures that when you move, you're taking the weight with you. It's not an easy thing to get a feel for, but one thing that I like to think of when I'm performing split squats is that your hips lead the way on the way down, but your shoulders lead the way as you go back up. Hopefully this helps to give you a bit of context with this admittedly odd movement, but even so, it's likely going to take some practice. This is one where it can be really helpful to take a video of yourself from the side to make sure that all of the important pieces are there. But with a little practice and perhaps a video or two, hopefully you'll find that the cable helps to emphasize one of the most important pieces of any split squat: forward and down.